Do you like Irish folklore? Well, we have a new one on Shudder that just came out that has Irish folklore entities in this indie, supernatural, kind of fever dream film. Let's talk about it. What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void. My name is Alex, and today we're going to be doing a spoiler-free review of a new Shudder film called Fréwaka, which is an Irish film by the director Aislinn Clarke, who did the movie The Devil's Doorway previous. Now, if I recall, I didn't dislike that movie, but I can't remember if I liked it or not 100%. This one is a little bit different. It is a condensed indie film. Now, this one's a story about a woman who takes care of elderly. She is called to go to a small town where this woman lives who is agoraphobic, dementia-riddled, and has a lot of really bad issues with trust and just about everything else. She thinks it's a normal call, but the woman that she's taking care of, she starts to find parallels into her most recent passing of her mother, and much, much more, as this woman tells her that the entities in the forest are trying to get her. She doesn't even trust the woman that's coming to help her. This girl is named Shoo, to help out this elderly woman. She does some pretty wild stuff in the house that starts to win over Shoo. Now, this movie is a slow burn, and I mean slow. It is a very slow film that takes a little while to get where it's going. It's not that it's bad acting. I actually enjoyed the acting quite a bit. I like the banter and the story between Shoo and Peg, the old woman. They are using straight Gaelic, old Irish style language, so there is subtitles in this movie, even though they do speak English throughout the movie a little bit too. Folk tales are different for every kid growing up, and everyone has their own sort of version of these folk tales, and the director really wanted to kind of grab onto it. Now, Fréwaka means roots. Roots meaning, you know, like a tree, but more entangled like this story is, because it's intrinsically attached to culture, to folk tales, to life, to existence, to families, to mental health, and all of that. They cover a myriad of different things in this film and tie it all together. When I first started watching this movie, I was a little bored because I was kind of hoping for more to happen. They do have this sense of dread that is kind of going on and permeating the film because the score in this film is done really well. It reminded me a lot of the movie Relic, right off the bat. Probably less than that because it just doesn't have a lot of crazy stuff going on. It does in a slow burn way where it's kind of gradually getting to the point. And I'd say that the last 30 to 40 minutes of this film is really where this movie won me over. So there's going to be a lot of people that, you know, they might not be able to make it to that part. You know, they may not really get the vibe. Now, as far as scary, I would say it's a little bit more on the unsettling side. As far as gore and stuff like that, it's a little bit, it's in there, just not done in a way that's like a gore film, you know? It's just there. Keep your expectations on the fact that this is an indie film because they do a lot in an indie film like this for very little. And they are committing to an atmosphere and this sort of like crazy fever dream moments. And also remember that this isn't a movie that's trying to be like a creature feature, like ghosts in the corner all the time. This is more of like blurring the line between reality and supernatural. So it's trying to make you question what is real. There's some pretty slick editing in this film where it just kind of changes from fever dream to reality back and forth to kind of obscure the line between reality and what the viewer is seeing to make you feel like you're in a fever dream in a lot of moments. And the movie gets progressively worse as the film, you know, transcends into madness. Visually, not a bad movie to kind of tackle this kind of thing. I've seen other movies that it kind of reminds me of, like maybe like A Wounded Fawn or The Wicker Man, where they're playing on the niceties of people, behavior of how people react to one another to kind of play into, oh, this isn't right. And as it gets progressively worse, you start to realize that the character Shoo might be descending into the same territory that her mother and this character, the old woman, Peg, is kind of existing in. And you're not sure why that is. But by the end of the movie, it may not answer all those questions for you. And so that may be a real big miss for a lot of people. I tend to see a lot of people these days not like that kind of thing, but that's this story, and I don't fault it for doing that. That's what they wanted to do in this movie. How it affected me, I personally like a lot of things in this movie, but it really did take its time to get to the part where it really invested me as a viewer into the film. Obviously, it won me over a lot by the end of the movie because of the twists and the turns that they do in the movie with the budget that they have. I really admire a film that tries to do what this movie does. I am a fan of folklore and folk horror, so to speak, but it's kind of like a mixed bag, you know? Like sometimes I feel like a movie really kind of transcends that madness and like craziness really well. I think this is somewhere in the middle to above average on that level. Like I like A Wounded Fawn much better on a visual level, even though it is also a, you know, low budget film that takes place in one house. This movie takes place in one house. It's very claustrophobic, which the director totally intentionally does. It definitely has some moments in the film that are relating to your family, to your past history, to decades and different generations of like folk horror or folk tales. So it's really kind of trying to grab a whole lot and put it into one very independent but well thought out film. Now, I would say with everything said and done, you know, acting, camera work, and all that other stuff, you know, the acting in this movie is definitely above average. So it's not like the most amazing acting, but you like the characters eventually. And I like when movies can make you like two very unlikable characters by the end of the movie. I think that's really fantastic. Everything said and done, camera, all that stuff, I would say this movie is about a 6.5 out of 10. And honestly, before I got to the last 40 minutes, I was not feeling it 100%, and it just kind of felt generic. Now, I think most people, if you're not into slow burns, you're going to be on the bottom end of that. And for those of you who do like movies like I've mentioned, or do like slow burns, you'll be at where I am or above. I wasn't blown away by this movie, but I have to give it credit because I think Ainsland Clark does a really good job of a lot for very little. They really nail the score in this one. So if you like that vibey kind of thing going on, this might be a good one. It won't be the top of all of those kind of films in my personal opinion, but you know, that's just my thoughts and my opinion on this film. It's up on Shudder now. You can check it out if you like. Fréwaka is about an hour and 43 minutes, and it really pushes the viewer to that last 40 minutes. So if you got an hour to sit there until you get to the really good stuff, but I think once it hits that point, you'll see what I mean, and also it may win you over. But I would love to hear what you think about this movie and folk horror and any other movies that you kind of get reminded of in this movie. I was kind of being critical on this movie before it ended, and then it really changed a lot for me. So give it a little bit, you know, and I think you might come out the other end pretty happy. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for coming by and enjoying the content that I'm putting out on this channel. I'm a little bit behind. I've got some new stuff that I'm reaching an Indonesian market now, where I will be doing a lot of Indonesian films and like Asian films. So I got another one coming up real soon that you guys might want to check out. So stay tuned. But thanks for coming by, and as always, long live the void.